Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, Jon Jordan. In this video I'm going to go through what happened in the first auction for the Formula 1 Delta Time blockchain game that's coming. So the game is coming, it's a Formula 1 game. You unlock various components for the car and also for the driver, and you build a car and you race, and it has real world kind of fantasy racing components as well. But the first thing they've done is they've done this auction which is just finished. And it's kind of pretty interesting to look through and just see how this kind of auction has worked and look at some of the dynamics behind it. As with everything in the blockchain, what's really interesting is we have a lot of data. What we don't have a lot of is necessarily the kind of truth behind that data. So always bear that in mind. I'll try and kind of couch my views on this sort of thing. But we can see the data, we can't always necessarily see the psychological reasons for what's going on, although we can maybe make some assumptions. Okay, so we're looking at now, this is the Delta Time, F1 Delta Time website. So we can just see that, you know, it's just telling us this is not much going on here at the moment. This is just telling us the kind of auctions happened. So this was the car, this 111 car, the very first Formula 1 non-fungible token, and we can see it actually sold here for 415.9. It says wrapped ether, so that's technically it is just a version of ether that's just kind of wrapped up for auctions, and because this auction actually happened on this site here. So this is OpenSea. OpenSea is a third-party marketplace where all blockchain games running on Ethereum can kind of run these auctions, and just so happened that the F1 Delta Time game was run through this OpenSea site. So I just stick with this website. It's a bit kind of simpler to see what's going on. So we can kind of see, pretty obviously it's the same information. We can see this is the car. We can now see it's owned by an address. We can see again, obviously it's sold for this. This is the highest offer before it got sold. We can see a few kind of ideas of the properties behind this. So it's, you know, this is obviously a very unique car. So it has 1 of 1, 100%. You know, this is the only car that has these certain traits, and also has these kind of crazy boosts. So acceleration plus 1001 and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so what's interesting is we can see blockchains. We can see it was born to the F1 Delta Time official account 3 days ago. It started the sale at 0.111. It's a 111 car. There were some bids entered. It was started. The first bid was 0.12, and it's gone and it's been sold here. So all that kind of stuff we expect to see on the blockchain, and we can go in and kind of check that. There's some interesting stuff here, so we can go in and we can see all the bids. So you can see here it started off. The first bid was Alex 2, and he made this bid, and then there was Dan, and there was Alex 2, and there was all these kind of people. We can see kind of what happened and how the kind of price went up and up and up. It doesn't actually show, it's not kind of brilliant, it doesn't actually show you the final one as part, because this just shows you the bids. These bids are obviously unsuccessful. So what I'm going to do is I've spent a bit of time on looking at this data. So let's have a look and have a look at my spreadsheet. Excuse me, I'm just sorting out my chair. Interested in data, so I like kind of messing around with this sort of stuff. So basically this is just, I've taken all the data that was on OpenSea and I've kind of put it into a spreadsheet, and I've kind of done some research, very basic research. It's nothing rocket science at all. I'm sure lots of people could go in a lot more depth than me. But let's just start out, and there's some interesting stuff we can see, I think. So we start off here. We have the 111, and then we have Alex comes in here. So I've got the USD, the bid in dollar terms. I've just taken actually this off the website, so this may not actually kind of link up to exactly what the price, depending on what exchange you're on or what website you're taking it from, but it's roughly the case. So I'm not going to quibble about a few percent. So what I've done here on this graph is I've looked at how the bid has been raised from each time. So the first bid raised it for 35%, the next one 33%, the next one 10%, next one 173. So anything over 50% I've put in purple here. What else have we got? How many bids have people made? So we can look at that. A few people made lots of bids. This is an interesting one. I think this is the so whatever was bid, what was that percentage compared to the wallet that it was bid from? So we can look at that. There's the name of the person. Obviously, you have to be careful about names. These are just yeah, kind of some sort of labeling system. This is an interesting one here. Wallet value. So we can look through Etherscan. We'll talk about that in a minute. but basically we can look to see what the value of that wallet is. So we can look to see how much ether's in there. So the Ethereum token, how much is in there, and then we can also look to see the value of other tokens. So that could be, other tokens could be ERC20 tokens, like wrapped ether, which is what you needed to bid in this case, or potentially any other ERC20 tokens, or potentially things like CryptoKitties, but it's very hard to value those. So mainly this is looking at other ERC20 tokens. And then some notes we can have a look at, kind of what, we can have a look at the addresses when it was created, kind of where they've been funded from, and have some idea what's going on there. And then this is just me looking at the kind of quick links to see what's going on. And also we've got how old was the account. This is in days. Okay, so let's give us an idea. And actually I'm going to move to, I've got some graphs as well. So let's flick to the graph. Okay, so this is just a graph of the data that's in the spreadsheet. Just a bit easier to see to some degree. So this is the bids we can see along the bottom, and this is the value in dollars along the top. So we can see here, obviously, not a lot happened. Lots of bids going on. So even by the 20th bid, we're still in the thousands of dollars. It's not really until we start to get to the 30th bid that we start to see this kind of stuff starting to take off. We start to see some quite big increases here. So over the 25,000 mark, it went pretty fast, and then almost to 50,000 quite fast, and then to 75,000 really fast, and then tails off towards the end. But we can start to see the kind of staccato kind of rhythm, and we can look into a bit more detail about that. Let's just flick back to see what's going on. It's good to get some idea in terms of kind of what these wallets are. I think it's a bit of context. So we start off. Here's Alex2. This is the name that the OpenSea has picked up from the wallet. So this is not rocket science. So this is like the first guy. He puts in a $38 bid. This is probably Alex, who actually is the CEO of OpenSea. We can make that kind of guess. He's got lots of items actually. The total value of the wallet he has is $1,662. And he's got, you can just tell this is someone who's in the blockchain game space. He's buying different items from different kind of games and stuff. So obviously he's not expecting to win this. He's just starting off, I guess. Then Dan comes in. What does Dan do? So we've gone from 1.5 to 2. Dan only has 300. His wallet is only $322 worth of value. But he's got multiple items. He's got 62 CryptoKitties. So actually, this is, as we say, this is the ERC20 value really. He only had $26 of ether. He's got all these CryptoKitties, so some of those might be valuable as well. But we're not really counting that. That's just pulled out of EtherScan. We can look at that later on. So third one here, Alex2 comes back, makes another bid. Not increasing by very much. We've gone from 0.2 to 0.22. Okay, and now we have Fincho comes in. So Fincho, this is obviously his first bid. So anyone in yellow here, this is their first bid that they've made. So he comes in. This is actually the biggest increase that happens in the entire bidding process. So we go up from 0.22 ETH or WETH to 0.6. So it goes up 173%. And we can see here who is Fincho. Well, we don't know if it's a man or a woman, obviously, with any of these things. We can see the value is $1,273. They've again got multiple items. They've got a whole bunch of stuff from Consensus Swag. They've got these ENS, which are Ethereum name, kind of ERC721s. So there we go. He comes in, and then we're starting to see this is starting to pick up a bit of pace now. Jeff7 comes in for the first time. Again, he's not got a lot of value in his wallet here. So actually, we start to see this one. This is the bid. Remember, this is the bid value of the. This is the percentage of the. If you take the bid and take that as a percentage of the total wallet value. Okay, so we're doing quite small amounts here. But Jeff comes in, and it's 95% of his entire wallet. He's bet here. He's bid here on $256. Then this one comes in, so I don't know what this is. This is Japanese, I imagine. Why do I say that? Well, that looks like Japanese to me. And also this person, this is kind of the first of the kind of got almost $20,000 worth of value in his or her wallet. 7 items, 5 of these are from My Crypto Heroes, which is a game very popular in Japan. So this is a kind of someone who's least interested in games. This is the only time you see them. They come in, make a bid, and then Jeff7. This is his second bid. He comes in again. He's it's what's interesting with Jeff7. Jeff7 is I don't know if they're just messing around, but he's making bids here. He or she is making bids here. So he's suddenly making bids worth more than the value of his wallet. So he's 123% here. Then the next bid is 161%. So this person doesn't actually have the money in their wallet straight away to actually if they win. So I think they're just kind of messing around. That's fair enough. Someone new comes in here at bid number 8, so AAY. We're going to see them come back again. Now this is kind of interesting. We're starting to see something different here. So this is now not massive amounts, so $6,849 worth of value, most of which of that is in ETH. And it looks like they've set their wallet up just for this Formula One auction. So look here, how old is this wallet? This wallet is only 3 days old. So I didn't really go through and look back over these ones actually, but obviously it's very easy to set up an Ethereum wallet, and there is this kind of idea, I guess, if you're really interested in stuff, you might not want to be like Alex and have everything in one wallet, and it's a bit obvious who this person is. If you're going to buy this kind of high-end NFT, you might want to be a bit more privacy focused. Not that you can do too much of that on Ethereum, but anyway. So they come in, make a bid. We're up to 1.5 WETH here. I'll just say ETH now, even though it's WETH, because can't say that too often. So Jeff comes in, makes another bid. So this is Jeff's third bid. AAY comes in again, their second bid. Suddenly we're up to 2 ETH here, and now this is an interesting one. So DWM comes in. So DWM comes in at bid 11, over $32,000 of value. Most of that is in WETH. WETH. Wallet, I mean, it's open 12 days ago, so not immediately open, but probably, has one CryptoKitty. That's the only really thing in there. So that's kind of interesting, just to have one CryptoKitty. It's not a very good one. And this has been funded from a Binance address. So we're starting to see, maybe, and we'll start to see the pattern of behavior that this person has probably set this up to win this auction. Luco7 comes in. We'll see them again up here, but again, not a really high roll. Again, address opened only 7 days ago, set up via Gate.io. So they come in, make the bid. The bid's now, still not well under $1,000, so it's still kind of pretty small. But we can see here, starting getting these bidding wars come in. We've had these 3 people. So DWM comes in, makes a bid. Luco7 comes in and makes a bid. DWM makes their second bid. AAY, who we saw before, makes their third bid. DWM comes back in again. We're starting to see now, we're starting to take off a little bit here. So we had a kind of increase down here when it was very small beers. Now we're getting into thousands of dollars. So we're starting to see us, going from 3 ETH to 5 to 8. So we're starting, people trying to right, let's see if we can drive this price up a little bit. Luco7 comes back for the second time. DWM comes back for the 5th time. AAY comes back for the 4th time. Luco7 comes back for the 3rd time. Now we're up to 15. We're starting to starting to climb the thousands. And now this is a significant player here. So Robert White, a man or woman we don't know, but Robert White comes in at bid 20. Doesn't actually do very much to begin with. So raising him from 15 to 18. So kind of testing the waters, you might want to say, as we see what happens. From their behaviour onwards, but this is someone with fairly large wallet value. So we start to see actually here when we get to this point, kind of Luco7s may be making a lot of bids, but actually they're up to 78% of their total value of their wallet. These other 2 have a long way to go. Certainly, DWM is only bidding 7% of their wallet. But Robert White comes in again 5%. So they've got fairly large, substantial sum of money. What's this here? So this person's actually got 306 WETH in their wallet. It's a new address, opened 5 days ago, financed by Binance. Okay, so we start to see this kind of as you'd expect in an auction, people are interested in this kind of stuff. We start to see some interesting behaviour and starting to see this kind of ramping up now. So we have DWM bidding again 6th time, AAY bidding for the 5th time. Robert White comes in for the 2nd time, but now we see a pattern with Robert White. Robert White is now bidding up 50%. So we're starting to, getting into 10,000, going into double digits almost. This one's an odd one. So this person comes in, only makes 1 bid. It's a new address opened 2 days ago. Has a fairly substantial amount of value in there, but we can't really say too much about this person because they make 1 bid and then go away again. So we go back after this kind of newbie comes in. We have DWM making their 7th bid. Robert White comes in again. We see Robert White here has made a 50% increase. Robert White again coming in 49% increase. We're starting to get into, this is getting serious money now. We're getting into the tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, the penultimate big player coming in, Steve 321 comes in. Okay, so again, very similar to Robert White. New address open 5 days ago, has 1 CryptoKitty. not a good cryptocurrency, but it has this is now at this point we've seen that the biggest wallet value coming in. So he or she is coming in with over $100,000 of value. Quite a lot of ether. What's interesting again, if you look here, they've come in with 300 WETH. Okay, so it looks like these people, Steve 231 and Robert White, have come in. They've set up accounts fairly close succession, and they've come in with WETH. So this, to me, no one has WETH apart from if you're doing this sort of bidding stuff. So these people have come in and they're specifically bidding to win this. So they're not messing around. You can see they've come in with fairly substantial sums of money. DWM still going, so their 8th bid. They're never raising it by very much, and they're still 60% of the value. So they've still got, they've still got plenty of firepower. But compared to these people, you probably start to see that they're not going to win this unless they do something different. So Robert White again makes his 4th bid, their 4th bid, should I say, sorry. Again, raises it 50%. DWM fights back, but now, it's starting to get, starting to get into $30,000 worth of value, over $30,000 of value. DWM is now up to 95% of their total wallet. So probably bye-bye DWM, and that's exactly what happens. DWM goes away now, because Robert White, what do they do? Another 50%. So we've gone from 120 ETH here to 180 ETH. We've gone up, we've very quickly gone from 20,000 up to, $45,000 here. Now we get into a very obvious kind of bidding war between Robert White and Steve 231. Now I'm sure these people know what they're doing. They have a lot of money, and I'm sure they can see what each of them have in their wallet. So, but doesn't matter. So Robert White he's making these big up bids, 50%. Steve 231 is making these small 5% increases. So Robert White again does 51%. Steve White again small 5%. But now we're suddenly getting into stratospheric, we might think, territory here. So we're getting up to 300 WETH. Now this is interesting. 300 WETH is important because we remember when we come back here, pull this up. So that was what Steve had. Steve 321. That was what they had in their wallet. That was what they put in there. So at this point, Steve 321. This actually they've got a bit more in their wallet because they've got a bunch of ETH. But basically they've maxed out their WETH here. And I'm sure Robert White knows this, and Robert White clearly is someone who wouldn't want to play poker against them. Very aggressive. What do? Well, they immediately. This doesn't look like much, 20%, but suddenly we're going, $92,000 dollars. Let's look at the top. And remember, 360 WETH. Well, that's exactly their limit on their wallet. So they're up to 99% here. I mean, I'm sure that this person has more money, because I'm sure they wouldn't waste all their crypto on this. But we now see, we're coming to the end game. And what was interesting is this was about 2 hours to go. So Robert White had been aggressive all the way through. But you could tell they were at their limit. And I actually put a tweet out saying this is an interesting game theory. And because Robert White's at their limit at this point, it wouldn't take much for Steve 321 to put another bid on. Unless Robert White is going to bring in like another 300 WETH or something. They're probably going to win it. At this point, they've been really aggressive. The person just come back and go, yeah, it doesn't matter. And actually, this is what happens. So Steve 321 now gets very aggressive, and if we come here, so they've swapped some of their ether for 96 WETH. So remember they had 300, now they've just gone 369. So they've just like gone, whatever you can do, I can do again. And suddenly we're into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is kind of interesting with a few hours to go. And then what happens? Well, this is kind of typical game theory, I suppose, for auctions. We've seen these people kind of fighting. We've had fighting down here between AAY and DWM has been in for a long time, and Luco 7 for a little bit, and then Robert White's come in, and it's basically been Robert White versus DWM, and then DWM's dropped out. It's been Robert White versus Steve 321. So Robert White, at this point, this is wrong. So actually, by this point they've made 7. Sorry, I should change that. This is their 7th bid. And DWM made 9 bids before they dropped out. These are people who are now kind of philosophically, not philosophically, psychologically committed to the auctions. This is why people do auctions. They really want this thing. It's, significant sums of money, no matter who they are in the crypto world. And then this other random person right at the end comes in and goes, yeah, and raises it. To a slight, I don't know if there's any symbolism in that. It's actually, if you look up here, it's actually 415.9. So, an interesting amount. 5% up. So again, they've not just gone to 400, which would be psychologically would be an interesting way of doing it. And what do we know about this wallet? Well, this was created 5 hours ago, fed from a Bitfinex wallet. Total value of 150,000. 534 WETH. So obviously this is someone who's been looking at this and they've got some extra firepower if they want to go higher if someone comes back. But at some stage people have to walk away. I guess what's interesting is we're assuming all of these are individuals and not multiple individuals. So I think that's the case. I'm not really into conspiracy theories. I think if you didn't want to make a case for something, you could kind of see perhaps that we have DWM and Steve 321. So when DWM kind of drops out, I mean Steve 321 has bid here already, but when DWM drops out, then you start, instead of it being Robert White versus them, it starts to become a Steve 321 versus Robert White. So potentially you could see people using different accounts. Probably not though. I would suggest these are all probably individuals. Let's have a quick look at some more of the charts. So this was the bids. We can start to see now, because we've gone through this in quite a lot of detail, that when we have these big increases, this is where Robert White is trying to drive out the opposition. Okay, and we can see that again. So this is the increase of each bid, and I'm not sure this is in the right order actually. No, this is the wrong way around actually. Sorry about that. So this is, but you can. So this is actually the start of the bidding process here. We have this weird 173% increase right at the beginning, but we can kind of start to see these 50%. This is where Robert White's coming in and trying to raise the game. So we have the kind of people messing. We can see actually that the pattern is a big raise, a few little ones, a big raise, trying to drive people out, and then the final ones are quite small. And this is the number of bids each bidder makes. So again, this is kind of a pretty pattern, I suppose. Everyone starts off with 1, and then some people go up to 2. So we start to see this kind of like step procedure where people this person's made 3, and then they've dropped away again, and then this person's made. So this one is DWM. So they get up to 8. So you can start to see the kind of how they're making their bids. This one here is on 8, so that was Robert White, and we start to see the person, these people coming in right at the end. Actually, that's not right either. There we go. And here, apart from that, and here we go, the bids of the total value of the wallet. And I guess what's interesting here is that there's quite a lot of bids where people are not bidding up to the total value of the wallet. And this is interesting actually in terms of game theory, I suppose, with blockchain stuff. That because you can kind of see what's in the wallet at any one time, you can kind of have an idea. You can kind of see what people's, I guess it's potentially, I suppose, the same as poker. You can see what people's, how much people have available to spend. Obviously, people can bring extra in there. We start to see here. We start to see, this is when people start maxing out when they got these coming up to the bids going up to 100%, and then people obviously dropping out because they don't want to refill. But here we have these two right at the end, both of them right. So this is the first Robert White one. This is the Steve 321, both at 100%, and then this other person comes in. So there we go. I think this kind of stuff is interesting. As I say, I don't think it's worth making too many assumptions from this sort of stuff. Obviously, for auctions to work, you need a number of people who are really interested in buying the object. Which is why we have, if we come back here, we have lots of messing around here. But really, we start to, it's only here when we start to drive out these, everyone is messing around, and we start to see kind of real, potentially 2 or 3 people who are really driving this price up. And this person comes in right at the end. They don't want to be there driving the price up. They just know they've got 500. They're just sitting there in the shadows waiting to see what happens. So pretty fascinating stuff. I guess what's really fascinating is how often this could be replicated by blockchain games. I think this is a Formula 1 game, an official Formula 1 game. Interestingly, this car is not a official it's not like a Ferrari or anything like that. So it doesn't have real world value in that sense. So I guess it's a wider comparator of kind of crypto value, and obviously lots of people, I've said, have lots of kind of crypto sitting around anyway, so it's to some degree having a sink that they feel they can draw value on. Kind of makes sense, I guess. If any, have you created value with this NFT by buying it for so much that at some point someone will then buy it for more? I mean, is it a bit like artwork, where if you spend $1 million, or the richest spend $100 million on a Van Gogh, then at some point you make that Van Gogh the most valuable Van Gogh, because it has to then go for more money. I mean, can you drive value by spending money? I guess that's what's interesting to see in the blockchain game world. And I guess what's interesting for me, always in these pre-sale things, is there any way that this sort of value can be replicated in the game itself? It's quite hard now. For CryptoKitties, there's no game, so it doesn't really matter that the value of the CryptoKitty is kind of stands aside from the game. This is the game. Will this person ever play this car in the game and win all the races because they have a really good racing car? I don't know. I mean, it's much harder to say at this level, but interesting. And I think the one nice thing about blockchain games is we're going to see kind of more of this sort of stuff. Doesn't have to be this enormous sums of money. I think that sometimes makes us lose our focus a little bit, and obviously for billionaires this is not much money at all. For the rest of us it is quite a lot. But there's other more interesting things about the economics of blockchain games that I think we will be looking at in the future. But thanks for listening to this video. Blockchain gaming world is all about the world of blockchain games. We play a lot of blockchain games, start to think about the business models behind them, and start to try and pin that together with a bit of data. So if that's your thing, please do subscribe. Any comments, please stick them in the comments box. But thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.